Hello and welcome. I am Farming for Fun, and this is going to be episode 2 of how to create a map. So first episode we went over the terrain sculpting mode, and now this episode we're going to work on the painting mode. So to begin, let's make a small little hill here. Let's go into a round, and we're going to add. Let's make a nice little hill feature here. Let's change this a little bit. Let's try and make kind of a mountaintop. Guess we could make that a little bit bigger here to make things a little smoother. Excellent. Okay, so now with painting, we're going to look down here as these are the textures. So let's start with dirt rough. And now we can paint the ground. A nice dirt texture. So we can texture this mountainside like so. And if there was another way to do it properly, it would be this. You can use these slope limits. So slope 0 is any surface that is at 0. If we want to, let's say, go from slope start 2 to about 8, now this tool will only paint from those slopes, which is usually the lowest slope possible. And it won't change anything else. So now if we go from 8, or let's go 8 to 14, this will paint a little bit higher in the slope range. Now if we go from, let's say, 16 to 34, let's change this to grass dry. It'll paint only that slope. So now it gives our mountain a little bit more texture without having to do it all ourselves and replacing any other texture. Let's just do the backside here. Excellent. So now we can also go up the chain here. Let's go from 34 to 62. And let's change that to a nice rock texture. So now everything in between those other texture slopes will be painted, which is a nice way to make it look natural. Now anything that doesn't show up is because the slope is either too high or too low from these coordinates. So we'll go 62 up to 90, and let's just change it into a different, let's go cliff red. So that'll fill in the rest, if not all, of these other areas that we missed. Now some of these are a lot lower than what we started with, so we can go from 0 to 7, and they should fill in. Not too sure what these levels are, we probably missed them, but you guys get the idea. So that is painting a mountain and the area around it. So let's make a nice little section here, whoops, for our farm. Paint a nice little dirt area. Change this to rough, and then we'll kind of surround it a little bit. Oops, let's go dry. Just kind of give the edge a little bit of a variation between the actual solid grass and the dirt here. Let's make the tool a little smaller. It's kind of just like randomize it a little bit. Make it look like it was driven over, kind of rustic a little bit there. Change the way it is between the dirt and the grass. And there we go. So now it doesn't look like it's all the same. Okay, so now we need to add a field. So this is where the terrain foliage comes into play. So let's change it from round to square. And let's go down to foliage layer painting. Now the terrain detail is the default for adding cultivated or plowed or whatever you decide to paint here. Now 0 is cultivated, 1 would be plowed. So let's go with plowed. Nice little plowed texture here, and that's the beginning of our field. So now the game does not recognize this field as a field for missions or a player field. So this is where the field transform group will come in handy. So let's open up all of these, and to start in field dimensions we'll need corner number 1. So let's Control B and place that first one there, and then corner 2, let's place over here. Not sure why it's all funky. Let's see if we can zero that out. Again, I don't know why it's doing that. It's very odd that it's pointing way up into the sky. Let's go to 35. Corner 2, let's go to 30. Whoops, wrong one. Control B, let's place that here. There we go. Now it's back to normal. And let's place that here, I guess. So now that we have our corners set, let's make sure that this field is actually properly highlighted. So if we highlight fields, scripts, Fs19, map, and toggle render field areas. We have to move the screen around just so it pops in, and it looks like everything is good. Now sometimes if you place this on this corner, it will change how the field reacts. So we'll have to slide that back over, Control B, and place it there. Now the game recognizes that this is a field. So now that we have a nice mountainside, we've got our field, we should place in a building. Now the only way to add in buildings is by either going into Import and going to your actual game folder. Let's go into Steam and Steam Apps, Common, Farming Sim. Let's go into Data. And in this here we have a whole bunch of items, but we need placeables. So these are the items the game that will recognize certain things like farm silos and certain other stuff like that. So let's go into Map US and Farm Buildings, and then we will spawn in a farmhouse. Now you can either double click or you can drag over. So let's add in a couple items. Let's go with the farmhouse as well as a farm silo. So now that we have both of these in our transform group, we can now place the farmhouse. Let's go right here about, and the silo large over here. Excellent. Now the only issue is these won't react in game as they should until you change the items or the default items XML. But for now, let's just add in a couple more buildings. Let's go back into this. Steam and Steam Apps, Common, Farm, Data, Placeables. So we need somewhere to sell these items, so we will go into, whoops, not DE, let's go into Map US, and let's go into Selling Station Generic, and let's drag that over as well. And let's place that just over here. Alright, so we have a home, We have somewhere to store our stuff, we have a nice field, and we have somewhere to sell. Now this is where the XMLs are going to come into place. So I think we will leave that for next episode. Now that we have a field and a couple buildings, we'll have to edit those XMLs for the game to load. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you understood everything that has been happening here, and in the next episode we'll continue with editing XMLs. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.